Yo. Good morning to the people. Today is October 26, 2022. My name is Chris B. Capping on Twitter. This is Cashed It with Chris, presented by the Forever Basketball Podcast Network. Man. So we got a lot to get into. We got a big slate today. Appreciate you guys for being here over on the YouTube comment section and on Twitter. We got a lot to get into. We had some games yesterday. Of course, we got a nice slate today. I think it's going to be a lot of betting angles that we can take advantage of, even though we don't have a lot of the lines, which kind of doesn't make for the greatest show. But I still want to share information with you guys based on what the research that I've done shows. I don't have a lot of a lot of lines. I feel like the books are still coming on a little slow, putting stuff out, kind of slow, which doesn't make the best for the morning show. But I still want to give you guys angles. So let's get into it, man. First off, let's go ahead and do a recap of yesterday. So yesterday, on the morning show, I came on. I gave out Jaden Ivey over his 23 and a half points, rebounds, and assists. And that did not cash. It was a 1 unit play for me. Jaden Ivey over 23 and a half points, rebounds, and assists. They just never got into a sync. They never got into a flow. Credit to Washington. Washington defense looked really good. I was reading that and I watched it too. Cade didn't have the greatest game. He had 3 assists and 3 turnovers, and I think Detroit only had 3 assists in the second half. So stifling defense from Washington. They slowed down this Detroit Piston team, which we'll talk a little bit more about here soon. In the evening show, if you tapped into the Crispy Cap and NBA show in the evening, I gave out the Clippers and OKC under 219 and a half. That was a cash 1 unit play for me. So 0.89 units came back on that. And then Zubac over 10 and a half rebounds. I talked about that yesterday on the show, but I'm not going to count it as an official because I didn't give it out as an official play because I didn't see a line for it yet. But Zubac had 14 rebounds yesterday. I talked about laddering them yesterday, his rebounds, and that was a cash, a easy cash yesterday on Zubac rebounds. I think he had 8 at halftime, and they lost the game. shout out to OKC. The Clippers just kind of tanked that one away. No Kawhi, no PG, no Morris, and then we saw SGA get ruled in late. And then lastly, I gave out Steph over 26 and a half points. And that was a frustrating one because he took a couple shots late that easily could have went in after he was having a really good offensive game. He missed a couple free throws as well, finished with 21 points, I think. And Phoenix mopped. They mopped Golden State last night in Phoenix. So we saw Klay Thompson get ejected. That was a really interesting game, and I stayed up for all of it. Probably shouldn't have, but I did. So let's get on to today, man. Let's get on to today. Don't want to make the recap portion too long. Beautiful morning, Mavs. Let me down -5. It's in the review. Learn from failure. Yeah, Captain 101. The Mavs don't do as well when they scored 130 points. So yeah, that's something to take into consideration. What's up, DJ? Appreciate you being here. JR Sports, as always. Appreciate you being here as well, my brother. What up, LJ? He said tough night last night. Yeah, and last night was tough, man. I went 2-2 overall on the show. I actually went 0-1. Which brings us to let's see, show units minus 1.49. So we're back down to minus 2.49 units on this actual show. Overall, we are still up 3 units. So we're up 3.37 units overall between both shows combined. So every time we seem like we get into a groove, we take a step back as well. So I'll figure it out, and we'll definitely start to trend in the right direction. But today's game, so first game up, I want to talk about this Magic game. So the Magic, Orlando will be going into Cleveland. Cleveland's laying 8.5 points in this one. The line for this one opened at 219. Right now, I see the line at 218. Some 219s out there as well. So some money's come in on the under, which I think I like that from the perspective of Cleveland's been playing a lot of good defense, and Orlando just can't score the ball. They just really struggle to score, specifically in the second half of games. So it could be a spot where you take them where you take Orlando, second half, whatever Cleveland's winning by at the end of the first half, they probably end up, beating Orlando even more. Orlando's one of those teams that come out and give you what they got in the first half. They don't do too much after that. I talked about it on the show the other day. So Orlando comes into this one 0-4 straight up, 1-3 ATS. The Magic are also coming off the 13-point loss to the Knicks in a game that they didn't cover as well. Cleveland comes into this game 2-1 straight up. They're also 2-1 ATS. The only loss that they have came on opening night when they went to Cleveland. I'm sorry, when they lost to the Raptors. So, they got wins over Washington, wins over Chicago, and two really solid teams. I think they land a big number here, but I wouldn't be able to take the Magic in this one. Plus the 8.5. So this is the third game in 4 nights for Cleveland, though, as they only had yesterday off. They have Boston on deck too, so it could be a look ahead spot. They play Boston on Friday. So that's something I wanted to mention. Darius Garland has already been ruled out in this one also. Head to head, when you look at this matchup, the Magic, they actually do pretty well when they play against Cleveland. Historically, they're 7-1 ATS in the last 8 games, and they're 4-1 in the last 5 games ATS wise in Cleveland. And I think, the number for me is, I think, kind of spot on. Cleveland should win this game by double digits, but like I said, it could be a look ahead spot. I don't like this third game in 4 nights, but Cleveland's look good so far. They look really good. The under in this spot is 11-3 in the last 14 games, 12-4 in the last 16 meetings as well in Cleveland. Orlando won the last game outright in April of last year. April of this year, but last NBA season. But that game they didn't have Jared Allen or Evan Mobley in that game. So, it's a little different today. I do have an official play that I'm going to get to in this one. So, the Magic ranked 26 in offense. They're scoring just 107 points per game. And Cleveland's defense comes in ranks number 2. They're only giving up 103.7 points per game. And that was something that we kind of talked about at the beginning of the season when I was doing the team previews. We know Cleveland has those trees down there, right? They have Evan Mobley. They have Jared Allen. They have a lot of length and athleticism. They also getting really good contributions from the bench and from guys like Okoro, Teddy Osman. Like, these guys are playing well. We know that the head of the snake, especially with Garland being out, is Donovan Mitchell, and he's absolutely putting on a show over there. Like, this guy is, going crazy, absolutely bananas. So if you don't want to get involved with the spread, because I know a lot of people, don't like laying 8.5 points. What I looked at in this one, and I did lock this one in already. It'll probably be one of the only officials I give out this morning. The Cavs team total over 112.5. I think the number's just a tad bit too low. So the Magic are already allowing 115.5 points. I just talked about how bad their defense has been. They've given up 112.5 points to the Pistons. So I think if the Pistons can do it, then Cleveland can. Even on the third game in 4 nights, and it's not, a back-to-back. So the Cavs have had 1 day of rest. They've also given this number up to the Celtics. We know they have a pretty good offense, and they've given it up to the Knicks. So 3 of the 4 opponents that Orlando's faced already, they've allowed to go over this point total of 112.5. So I've already played the Cavs team total over 112.5. I think the number's a tad bit too low. On the opposite side, you get a Cavs team that's averaging 116 points already, and they've gone over in both of their games since the home opener against the Toronto Raptors. So I really like the Cleveland Cavs team total over 112.5. Didn't really look at this one from a prop perspective at all, but I'll probably get there. I typically cap the games first, and then I go back for the props, which is why I typically give out, spreads and totals on the show in the morning, and then I'll go back and look at it from a player prop perspective. Moving right along, I want to go to this. Let me see what you guys are saying in the comment section about this game. What up, Chris? Top of the morning on the West Coast. Hey, Fremont, I appreciate you being here, bro. I know it's early on the West Coast. It's 4 a.m., bro. I appreciate that. What else I got? Clay messed up their offensive momentum. What's up, Chris? 804 in the building. What up, man? VA, stand up. What up? Morning, bro. Very, very tough night, Markel said, but we cashing today. Yeah, you get it back, man. The bookie take your money and you lend it to them, you get it back. Orlando has allowed 3 players to score 18 points, 3 out of the last 4 games so far. Can you see Cleveland tonight having 3 players doing the same? Absolutely. They're a well-balanced offense. LJ, like they got guys that can go for 18 for sure. So I like that, Karis LeVert. Orlando just not playing a lot of defense. Orlando, to their credit, they also, not trying to discredit the offenses that they played against, but they don't have a lot on the defensive end. We know that Jalen Suggs is out, Markel Fultz is not there. Jonathan Isaac is not there. So they're missing some guys for sure. D Mitch 25, Bonchero 20. I don't know if I like Bonchero in this spot. I know he's been balling, but he hasn't had to face guys like Evan Mobley, who we know the expectation for Evan Mobley this year. Coach want him to be, defensive player of the year type candidate. So I wouldn't look at Bonchero in this spot. But that's just me. Chris, so far it's looked like a lot of NBA parity, less blowouts. I think it's because no team bench is really great yet. Your thoughts? I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. Cavs should punish them. I agree with that. Bonchero over 19.5, Wendell Carter over 9.5 rebounds. Pick your spots with the rookies, man. Like I said, Bonchero, I know he's gone over in every single game, and I don't want to talk you guys off. I'm just saying I'm not looking to take him in this spot tonight against a defense that has these twin towers on there. Jared Allen and Evan Mobley are not the typical front court, in the NBA. So you guys take with that information and do what you want. Moving along though, let's get to this Hawks and Pistons games. So we got the line is funny because when I was capping this game yesterday, like in the middle of the day, the line was actually only at 5.5 in favor of the Hawks, and quickly steamed up to 7. I talked about this one yesterday, twice yesterday on my show and the show with Ronald Cabang. Let's cap. The line is now at 7 for Atlanta. The total is at 228, and we see some money come in on the over just a tad bit. It's up to 229 in some places, 228.5, and nothing really on the spread. It's at 7, hasn't really moved a lot. I'll tell you guys this. Atlanta's coming into this game. They're 2-1, but they're coming off that really bad loss on Sunday versus a shorthanded Charlotte team that didn't have LaMelo Ball, didn't have Terry Rozier. They lost that game by 17 points after starting the season 2-0 with wins against they had beat Orlando and they had already beat Houston, right? So then on the opposite side, you get a Pistons team that's they're not in the greatest spot. This is going to be a second night of a back-to-back because we know that they lost last night in Washington. So it's a road home back-to-back for them. After that, 21-point massacre last night that Washington put on them. So I think the spot for this one doesn't really favor the Hawks historically, but I would only be able to look towards the Hawks in this spot. So the Hawks they're 0-4 in the last 4 meetings in Detroit. For some reason, Trae Young just doesn't have the greatest games in Detroit. Today, in this season, he has a running mate in DeJounte Murray. And I was reading some of the quotes that came out from the loss in Charlotte. At home against Charlotte, and he was saying that he put the loss on him. They got to come out and set the defensive tone, even when they're not scoring the ball on offense. So the Hawks are, they're top heavy. They don't have a lot of scoring off that bench. A lot of their points going to come from guys in the starting lineup. Trae Young and DeJounte Murray lead the team in scoring, both 1 and 2, and in assists, both 1 and 2. Then you have guys like Collins and Capella, Okongwu coming off the bench, of course, and DeAndre Hunter, who recently got his money as well. I will say I think there's something to take in the Hawks early in this game. I really like the Hawks early. I don't even have a spread for it right now. I was looking for it yesterday, looking for it this morning, can't find it. But Hawks first quarter, first half is something I'm gonna be looking to. Detroit typically comes out slow. You've seen that. If you watched Let's Cap yesterday with myself and RC, he talked about taking Washington first quarter. They ended up covering that. It was 28-25. The spread was 1.5. I think you get a fired up Atlanta team coming in here off that loss, looking to bounce back. I would actually look towards Detroit team total under for the first half as well, but I like Atlanta specifically in this spot. I don't know how I'm going to play it. It'll probably be first quarter spread, first half spread. I'll probably take a unit and split it on both. But I'm not looking for. I know that you typically want to take the team to bounce back, but Detroit's not a good team right now. They're not a good team, and I think Atlanta is primed to bounce back in this spot. They're probably fired up, off that loss, overlooking a team. So those are the games that you want to take, right? Detroit is also is averaging the fewest first quarter points at home. They only averaging 17 points. And the game that they scored 17 points at home was actually against Orlando. And Orlando's defense isn't better than Atlanta's defense. They're also tied at 27th as far as first quarter scoring. So they're not scoring a lot of points. And I think Atlanta is in a motivated spot to come out here and smack these boys up and kind of keep it going and getting back on the right track. So I will be playing that officially when the line actually comes out. First quarter, first half spread for me probably. And I like I said, I also hate the spot for Detroit because they're in a road home back to back, which is that's just not a good spot. The travel makers didn't the schedule makers didn't make this a good travel spot for Detroit at all. Fremont said looked like a trifecta spot. It definitely could be a trifecta spot for sure. Give me Hawks -10. Why line so low? I think the line low, Markel, just because, like I said, Atlanta doesn't typically they don't play as well. Against they just don't play as well historically against the Pistons. I talked about them being 0-4 in the last 4 meetings in Detroit. Like I said, when they go up there for some reason, they just don't play that well. So I think they play well tonight, though. I like the bounce back spot. Detroit, they had shell of themselves. They're a really bad defensive team. I talked about that, not having Marvin Bagley. So, let's move on, though. I'm talking about 2 games, and we're already 18 minutes in. Try to keep the show to about 25 minutes or less. I like the Hawks in the money line parlay. Hawks come off a bad loss. Detroit isn't good. Trey has double revenge too, I believe. Yeah, I think so. This is a Hawks first road game. May let down. Pistons play good at home. They play a little bit better, but they got a loss against Orlando at home, LJ. So they ain't playing that good at home. 5 games in the last 7 days for the Pistons too. So you can see in their numbers all dying long should be a blowout. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at too. Like I said, I haven't played it yet. Man, this is the perfect to listen to while doing my deliveries. Appreciate it, Chris. And I appreciate you being here, Mike. You guys hit the like button for me too if you're over on the comment section, if you're over on YouTube as well. But let's get into it, man. Let's get another game in real quick if we can. We should have enough time to get at least one more game in. And then, of course, you guys tap back in with me this evening, 5:15 Eastern time. I'll have a recap. I'll have go through all of these games and have some player prop angles for you guys as well. Since we only got time to get one more in, let's go up to Toronto. I want to talk about this game. Let's go north. Let's go up here, man. 76ers are coming into this one. And I think this is a really good spot. Really, really good spot. So 76ers are traveling to Toronto. You get a line that opened as a pick, right? It was a pick at most places. Toronto is favored in some places. I see them favored at DraftKings, but I also see Philly being favored at Circa right now and at WinBet. Total opened at 215.5. It's up to 216. I think the total's a little low. I was actually looking towards the under, but I'm not taking it with it being that low. This is playoff revenge angle in this game, right? We know that the 76ers beat the Raptors last year. The Raptors limped into that series. You can say Toronto kind of limped into the series as well, but the Raptors limped into that series. Now you get a 76ers team that's traveling on the road. And you get a Raptors team that's coming off a win in Miami, right? So the Raptors are the more rested team, and typically the more rested teams that have played at home have looked good in this spot, right? The Raptors are – I expect the Raptors to come out here and jump on the 76ers early. Let's just put it like that. I think the Sixers got, a little chip off their shoulder by beating the Pacers and covering the other night. But I do think that, and that's more of a reason why I like the Raptors early in this game, because I think the 76ers come into this one with their guard down. And these teams will play again, I think, on Friday as well. So it's a back-to-back spot. I think the 76ers will probably just stay in Toronto because I think that the second game is in Toronto as well. We know what happened in the playoffs last year, man. Like I said, I was actually on the Raptors heavy in that game. I think this is a Raptor spot. I would only be able to look towards the Raptors. They have the playoff revenge angle. And also you get a 76ers team that just hasn't looked that good. We know that Nick Nurse is one of the coaches that defends Joel Embiid really, really well. So you're gonna be looking at guys like James Harden and Maxey to step up in a spot like this. I'm not a believer in the 76ers bench. I think that the Raptors had a better bench in this spot. They haven't looked that great. I mean, one game against Indiana isn't going to necessarily do it for me, right? We know that the Raptors play really, really, solid defense, and I think that they have enough offense also to be able to score and get this win. The Raptors beat the Cavs on opening night. Scotty Barnes, I should also mention, Scotty Barnes is questionable for this game, but we saw them win the game without Scotty Barnes in the last game. He probably going to end up playing in this one. I think he does play. I think he had a sprained ankle. I'm looking to back the 76ers. I'm looking to back the Raptors in this spot. One interesting nugget that I pulled too, I was running some SDQL on this game. So the Sixers are just 3-5, which is a 3-5-1, which is only a 37% cover rate out of their last 8 games post All-Star break last year, when they won their last home game and they play their next game on the road, right? So their next game being away, they won the previous game. It's typically a letdown spot for the Sixers. It's going to be a great test for them, but we've seen them struggle. They struggled with the Spurs. They actually struggled with the Pacers as well for some of that game also. And then, of course, Boston beat up on them, and that was the only playoff team that they played so far. So, yeah, give me the Raptors. I'm probably going to take them on the money line tonight. Haven't put that one in yet, but I'll probably make that official, especially I do want to see the news on Scotty Barnes. But like I said, I'm looking to fade the 76ers when I get a chance to. Like I talked about it, they just look a step slow to me. So I'm looking to fade them in a spot like this. And we are at the 23-minute mark. So I'm going to go through my officials real quick, and then I'm going to get up out of here. What you guys on tonight? Let's see. Lloyd Markin at over 22 points and Anthony Edwards over 24 points. Revenge night. I do like Anthony. Ed got a lot to prove after, a slow start in the last game. But it was a bad spot for the Timberwolves. I talked about that. Back-to-back, 3rd and 4. Now you get them, not on the back-to-back. I think Anthony Edwards has a good night tonight too. Ladder picks, Utah and T-Wolves in a revenge spot tonight. Yeah, Utah's definitely in a revenge spot. I think they're gonna smash up the Houston Rockets. I'm actually looking towards the over in that spot. I like that spot a lot. And then of course the Timberwolves are too. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the lines are getting pretty heavy. I know we didn't cover the Utah one, but the line's up to 6 already. And the Timberwolves, I think, are already at 7.5 or 8 also. Pascal tonight, baby. Yes, Siakam owns the 76ers, so that could be a good prop as well. Van Fleet, 8 assists. Gary Trent Jr. over 2.5 threes made. I couldn't talk you off. I like that as well. Market at over 14 points. Edwards only scored 9. Both will have bounce back games. I like that. I like that you guys are looking at the bounce back spots for sure. Scotty Barnes playing, does he impact your handicap? Yeah, he does, because Scotty is a guy that can, facilitate the offense. He can score. He plays really good defense as well. He's like the best second backup point guard. So I would like Scotty Barnes to be in that game, but I wouldn't take the Sixers even if Scotty Barnes isn't in. So wanted to make that clear as well. Edwards will be motivated by Karl Anthony Towns' comments, in my opinion. I think so too, man. I didn't mention that, but Karl Anthony Towns talked about his diet and eating Popeye's chicken and stuff like that. You know, how you need to take care of his body. So I like Ant a lot, man. I like Ant a lot in this spot. Harden rebounds over 16.5. Well, 16.5. I think that means over for Fabian. DeJounte Murray rebounds and assists over 15.5 plus 100. I think I got some spaces look for later. Okay, DJ. Yeah, let's tap in later, man. Timberwolves full game minus 13. Okay. Ooh, that's a spicy one. So real quick, because we are at the 25-minute mark, official for me, I'm on the Cavs team total over 112.5. I already gave out the analysis for that. They get an Orlando team that's struggling defensively. And then Hawks Pistons, I will be on Atlanta first quarter, whatever that spread is, Atlanta first half, whatever that spread is. Fading the Detroit team on the second night of a back-to-back, and Atlanta should be motivated in this spot. And then I didn't have time to talk about the Nets and the Bucks, but I really want to get into that game. Raptors, I'm taking them on the money line tonight. That's you can go ahead and make that official for me too. Official for me, Raptors on the money line. Atlanta, looking at them early, first half, first quarter spread, and then Magic, Cavs. I'm taking the Cavs team total over 112.5. Appreciate you guys for being here as always. Hit the like button for me. Subscribe to the videos if you haven't. 7 a.m. every single day. I'm doing the show. You guys be sure to tap back in with me this evening, 5:15 Eastern Standard Time for the NBA Crispy Captain Show on Twitter, on YouTube. Best of luck on all your bets today. Do your research now so we can tap back in later. I'll talk to you guys later.